Um, but why did you decide to move to the back office to become an executive? I think that's as a head of A&R and a label executive.
Man, you do your homework, man. You do your homework, man. Uh, you know what happened, man? Here's what happened. Like, when, let me go back to me and Bob. Okay, so everybody think that it was a bad breakup with me and Bob, man. It ain't, man. He my brother, man. He really is, man. I'll do anything for him, man. That's my brother, and it was a thing where just like just like if it was two brothers, man. If one see like, man, I want to try this right here, man, and then another brother be like, nah, you know what? I still want to do this. That's what that was, man. It's like he wanted to do something else, and I still wanted to do mainstream. You know what I mean? I'm a mainstream dude, man. I
Mm,
can't help it. That's how I was born that way, man. You know what I mean?
mm,
So still, I'm producing right now. I'm doing mainstream records, man.
mm.
Like 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 developing and on and on. I love it, man. And you know what? No knock on nobody. If they want to do something different, go ahead. You know what I mean? Like I don't knock that, man. I don't knock what he did at all. But you know, I still want to do mainstream, man. So so what happened was is Brian McKnight called me, man, right? He called me from Japan. And he was like, hey man, he was like, I'm signed to a major, man. I'm like, you are? I said, I thought you didn't like major labels, man. He was like, he said, well, you know what? It is a label. He said, they got Universal. He said, it's SRG
Oh,
slash Universal.
SRG. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. So he was like, so we got all of the support of Universal, man. I was like, oh, okay. That's dope. And then he was like, hey, man, I want you to do my whole next album. And I'm like,
Everything. Wow.
everything, man. Let me see. I think, do I got it up here? I
It's
got I got the whole thing somewhere.
okay. So,
But a lot of people didn't even get a chance to hear it, man. I think it's pretty good. I did the whole thing. But anything what happened is he came back and I did the whole thing, right? So then it was crazy, man. The executive from SRG, he was like, hey, what you did is incredible on Brian, man. Like, I'm like, who is this, man? So I'm thinking it was the mastering dude that helped, because I had to talk to him a lot while I was doing the album, right?
mm,
Because Brian was going out of town doing gigs, so he would leave the master the mat when I finished it, mix it and all that stuff. He
mm,
would leave it at his house, and I had to go all the way out there and give it to the mastering dude, right?
mm.
So I thought it was the mastering dude at first. He was like, "Hey, man, you're gonna be a big part of this company, man." I was like, I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, man." He's like, "No, I'm dead serious, man." And I was like, I said, "Who is this, man?" He was like, "You don't know who?" He said, "By how I'm talking, man, you don't know who this is, man." And then I was like, "Nah, I don't." So then he was like, so then he left it at that. He didn't say nothing. So the whole day went by. Next day he was like, "I'm Claude that own the whole label, man. How would you like to be head of A&R?" And I was like, "Head of A&R?" I'm like, let me think about it. I knew I wanted to do it, but I was like, let me think about it for a second. And then he came back and said, you know what? You could be head of A&R and you could sign anybody you want, man. He said you can sign anybody you want, man. He said we'll just give you a title of head of A&R. But really, I ran the whole company, man. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? When I started doing whole albums, like Sean got an album that came out. I did his whole album. Brian, I did two whole albums on him. Raheem Devine, I did two albums before he left, but I did like the singles, Just Right. That
Mm.
did pretty good. Just Right, and another one that I did. Um, but I don't know, man. It just didn't feel. It felt like, you know what? I need to be running my own label, man. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got enough knowledge now because I got a lot of intel from Jam Lewis and LA and Babyface and people like Quincy Jones and all that. I'm like, you know what? This don't. It's like something missing, man. It's like I'll ask somebody, have they heard it? And they said, nah, I haven't heard that. But yet to be number one on Heart and Soul, you know what I mean? I'm like, how they not hearing this, man? I'm
Mm.
like, man, there's something missing, man. So I was like, you know what? I think it's better that I just go on my own and just create my own thing. So that's why I got my own. I got two labels right now, matter of fact, and you'll be hearing something from us soon.
So, but how long were you with SRG? Because I think a lot of us have seen they've signed After Seven, Shaka Khan, I think Ruben Studdard. So they'll be signing a lot of sort of, you know, did you, why did you, how long did you stay in that role before you decided to step down?
Like, man, I was in that role for maybe like I don't know, 5 or 6 years,
Okay.
maybe.
But
Yeah.
how did you manage? Were you still producing and doing the executive stuff, or did you have to strip back from the producing?
No, I was producing. Like I said, I was doing the whole album. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
And a lot of
okay.
them songs was going number one, man. Like Brian had a couple number one records. Bobby had a number one record. Sean, I did a song called "Feeling a Little Something" with Sean. That went number one, but it was only going R&B, and that was it. And it wouldn't cross over. So that's why I was like, I mean, I'm doing all the tricks of the trade. How come it's not going over to the other chart?
And what do you think was the
It was
reason?
only staying on the R&B chart. So you know, it's only so many people that's gonna hear
Here,
R&B, man. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, you know, let me just get my own label, man. And that's why everybody was like, hey, man, did you sign Layla Hathaway? I'm like, I ain't even over there no more, man. He doing his
Okay,
own thing now. So
okay.
Layla Hathaway, let me
Yeah, the
see,
Shaka
Kiki
Khan.
Wyatt,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shaka Khan.
After
Yeah,
seven. Yeah.
I left right before After Seven got signed.
Okay.
Right when they got signed is when I left because me and Kevon is really cool. And Kevon told me, Kevon, you know what? Matter of fact, I left right during the album. Because when Kevon got signed, Kevon was like, hey man, because we did Kevon too, me and Bob did. He was like, hey man, I need some of that magic from you, man. I'm like, okay, I got you. And then that's when I left, right in the middle. I
Okay.
was just about to work on them too.
Oh.
Let me see who else was over there. That made there's another artist over there, man. Kenny. What's Kenny's last name? That was married to Shantae Moore.
Oh, Lattimore, Kenny Lattimore, yes.
Yeah,
Kenny
Kenny
Lattimore.
Lattimore. My
Yeah.
fault. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Kenny.
No, no,
Yeah,
that's right.
Kenny's a good friend of mine too because I had an artist that he was managing. So
Okay.
Kenny, I was going over to Kenny's crib before I had my stroke. I was going up there to Kenny and he was showing me some of the records that he was doing. I'm like, wow, man.
Wow.
But I already knew that when he was showing me some really good stuff and he wanted me to jump in, but I was like, it ain't gonna do nothing, man. Because it's an element that's missing in that label, man, that I just couldn't quite put my finger on, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Because I interviewed Angie Stone just before they released her album on the label, and it unfortunately it didn't make a dent. Even the After Seven, because I interviewed After Seven when they came, and I loved their album because they I got their album. Beautiful songs. Kevon's probably one of the greatest singers out there, but I don't know how well the label is pushing the album
That's
and the
exactly what it
music.
is. You know what? It's the old adage, man. It holds true, man. Because I kept trying to tell the guy that had the label, I was like, you know what? It takes money to make money, man. You're going to have to
Mm,
spend some money, man. For people like you, way in England, I'm
mm.
like, how are you going to hear it if you don't spend the money for it to get over there to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It's got to get for it to get to the masses. You got to spend some money, man.
yeah.
That's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
So then what's going
I
to be
know you want
different?
to rob Peter to pay Paul, man, but you got to spend some money, man.
Yeah, it's true.
He didn't want to. You know the problem is he didn't want to spend the money. He have a great album, man, but it wasn't no marketing and promotion behind it, man. So
Mm.
all them albums I was doing, then you don't even know. Like I just telling you about Brian McKnight, you looking at me like I'm crazy, man. You probably never even heard of him. And I did the whole when I say I did the whole album, the whole thing, mixed it and all. So it sounded like a Tim and Bob production. You know what I mean? I could show you some stuff. You'll be like, dang, man. And it went #1 on Heart and Soul. That was it though. Because Heart and Soul is an R&B station. Never crossed over, because the crossover you would have to spend like 50,000, another 100,000. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't want to do that. So there it is. Think about it, man. Think about it, man. You be hearing about these artists that signed on SRG.
Yeah.
But what's done anything?
I mean, they'll go on the Tamar Hall show or Sherry Shepherd's show. They'll go on there, do some songs, and then that you see them. They'll promote it that way. But yeah, you won't really hear it on radio and stuff.
But no, you don't. Yeah, you don't hear it on the radio. No crossover. It ain't no nothing, man. It's like a boutique. It's a boutique label, but it's like, just because you're boutique label don't mean you got to run it like a boutique label. You know what I mean? You got Universal behind you, man. You could just ask them for some money. They'll give it to you to market and promote it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you want the label to be real lucrative, man, you know what I mean? Then, I mean, the artist on the label is going to have to sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what about
that's why LaFace was so big. That's why Motown was so big. Because all of them artists, man, they all popped off.
Yeah.
Think about Motown. Think about Motown, man. So many artists popped off and it crossed over.
Yeah, even Bad Boy.
Bad Boy too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
Somewhere in between us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas Boyz II Men and all spirits.
Play it.
I mean, I love all different genres.